Today I'm going to show you how to build a basic data collection app using ArcGIS Online. In this app you'll have the ability to choose from a drop-down menu and have predefined options of choices that'll give you in this list that you can then choose from. You'll also have a non-required field, in this case an email address that you can put in. You can attach a photo or file from your device, as well as locate where you are. Ideally, this will actually happen the minute they start the app, but they can also search for the current address or an address they're interested in, and then they can submit an entry. Just to show you how this process works, so here I'm going to choose that there were greater than 20 dead trees nearby. I'm going to put my contact information in if I want to be contacted. I'm going to attach a file of my choosing. So I'm just going to choose a background image. It's 2 megs. And then I'm going to choose the location. And in this case, I know where I am. My computer doesn't have location services turned on. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom into the Hopland area, and I'm just going to place a point on the map. And I can move that point to wherever I am, and it locates it in latitude and longitude. And then I hit submit entry. It uploads the image. I'm done. And it then tells you can send the form, view submissions, those type of thing. It's a really, really basic and simple way to gather information from your constituents. The first step of creating the basic data collection app is you're going to need an account on ArcGIS Online. To get an account, go to igis.ucanr.edu. And then go to GIS Resources, ESRI Software. It may ask you to log into the ANR portal. Just use your credentials to do that, and you'll then see this page. And click on the icon that shows a form. It'll then take you to a Google Doc where you can go in and request access to ArcGIS Online, as well as ArcGIS software. Once you do this, we'll set up an account and send you other information for getting access to ESRI software. Once you have your account on ArcGIS Online, go to developer.arcgis.com. And then go to the upper right hand corner and choose sign in, and then log in with your username and password for ArcGIS. And then after you log in, you'll come to this page, and what we're really going to go into is we're going to look into the upper right hand corner, and we're going to go to layers. What this initial page shows you is all your web applications, web maps, and other things that you have on your account. And if you go up here to the layers icon, you click on that, you'll then go to and you'll see all the layers that you have hosted in ArcGIS Online. And this is also where you can create new hosted layers, which is what we're going to do for this basic data collection app. So let's go to Create New Layer. On the Create New Layer page, you can name your layer, which we're going to call Dead Tree Count. And you can see how it appends that to the URL. We're going to give it some basic tags for searching purposes. So we're going to call this Dead Trees, California. We're going to say UCANR, IGIS, and UCCB. And then we're going to give it a basic description so that you know what this layer does. I'm just going to say this feature layer is used in the Dead Tree Survey app. And as with GIS, when you're talking vector data, there are 3 different types of data that you can do with in terms of vectors. You have points, lines, and polygons. In this case, we're going to choose points. And then the question becomes, what information, if you think of the survey, do you want to gather from these people? What is the information we want? Well, in that app I showed a little bit ago, we asked for the number of dead trees. So I'm just going to put dead tree count. And we're going to leave that as a string because we're going to have ranges 2 to 5, 6 to 10, and so forth. And we want that to be a required field. We click Add. And then we want contact information. And we're not going to make that a necessarily required field, but we're going to keep it as a string, and we're going to add that. And at this point, you know, on that app I just showed you, you have the ability to upload or attach files. This is where you enable that. It gives you some other options. One of them is enable the layer to be taken offline. We're not going to do that here, but you could do that and build an offline app, but this is going to be, the one we're building is an application that's going to be used online. And by checking the allow attached images and other files to individual features, we want that to happen so we can put that photo up. So we're going to leave that checked. At this point, we're going to say create layer. And it's going to create that layer in ArcGIS Online so that we can use it for this web app and the web map that's also going to be tied to it. But what I want to show you right now is if we go in and we just had a look at that data set that we just created, I'm going to open it in a new tab. And one thing you noticed on that previous app, when we went to the survey, we went to add the number of tree counts, you had the option for, you had the drop-down menu that had your different number of count range. So you could say, so right now as an example, I'm just going to place a point on the map, dead tree count, you don't have that option. You don't have a drop-down menu with 1 tree, 2 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 20, or greater than 20. That's not here. So out of the box, it doesn't do that. So we're going to have to do just a minor bit of programming under the hood to make it so we have that option. So I'm going to go back, close this down, and go back to the main description of this new layer we created. And to do this next step, we're going to say View Service. And it gets the programming interface for this layer. And we are going to take up to the URL, and we're going to remove from dead tree count out to feature service. And then we're going to change rest, the word rest, to admin. And then it shows you all of your layers and whether or not they're started. And right here you see dead tree count. If we click on that, it shows us the service, and it shows us that there's one layer in there right now, and that's the one we want. So dead tree count 0. Click on that. And then if we come to the bottom, we're going to update the definition. So if you look at this definition, there's going to be a couple of things we're going to modify. The first thing is we're going to look at this editing info, and more specifically, the last edit date. For this PR part of the exercise, we're going to take and delete the last edit date from this list. And then we're going to go down and we're going to find that dead tree count field that we added. And it's right here, dead tree count. It's a string, it's alias, so what it's called, and what type of data it is. And if you notice here, domain equals null. To get that drop-down function, we need something in that domain field. So here is the syntax that you could use to do that. So here we're going to use a coded value domain, that's the type, and the name of it is tree count. And then we've got the coded values. And here they're all going to match, so the name and the code are going to be the same. So 1, 2 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 20, and greater than 20. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this formatting, and notice the curly brackets and the structure. Copy the whole thing, and I'm just going to replace that word null with this code. And then come down here and say update layer definition. And now by doing that, if I go back just to look, and I come down, and if I choose update definition again, and if I go in here, I will now see a domain values there instead of null. So that has been updated. So let's go back now to the basic feature service layer. So layer ArcGIS for developers. And we're going to see that same description, dead tree count. Now this time we're going to open it back up in a map viewer. So we've now created the feature service, which is going to hold the data that we gather from the participants when they take this survey. And the next step is to create a web map that actually symbolizes the data and is the basis for the survey app that we're going to build next. So once again, I said open in web map, open in actually in map viewer, and I'm going to symbolize these data based on the dead tree count. So if I come here to change style, I'm going to change the attribute to show to be dead tree count. And it's going to go and just set a set of default values. 1 to 20, and other. And I'm just going to take the default and say done. And now if we go to legend, those are our values. Another important thing, if I was to click back on this point I created earlier, I can edit that. I now see there's a drop-down list of options. So we have the basic map set up now. We have the data set in there that we want to be able to use for collecting information from the general public. We're going to hit delete to remove that point. I'm going to zoom into California. And now I'm going to save this as the dead tree count survey. And I'm going to just put web map on here just so I know that that is actually what this is. And once again, I'm going to add the tags that we had earlier. So I'm going to say I'm going to say dead trees. Once again, UCANR, IGIS, UCCE, and I'm just going to put a web map just so I know that that's what this is. And you can add a summary of whatever you'd like. So I'm going to save the map. Now we have this map saved. It can now be referenced in other parts of ArcGIS Online. And to do that, I'm going to go up to Share. I'm going to share this with everyone because I want everyone to be able to participate in this. And it's going to ask to update the sharing on that layer. And you can say Update Sharing. If you don't do that, the people would have to have access to your ArcGIS for Online account to actually make and add changes and add data to this. And we don't want that. So once I say everyone, I accept to change the data sharing properties. Now I can go and create a web app from this. And we're just going to use a really standard template from ESRI to create this survey. We're going to use the GeoForm, and there are many other options you can use, but this is actually really easy, and it does what we want. So let's choose GeoForm, and we're going to say create web app. So now it's created the web app, and what do we want it to be called? We're going to call it the Dead Tree Count Survey. It can be anything, but that's what we'll call it. And we're going to add one tag here. We're going to call it a web app. And once again, you can add a summary of what the app is. You hit done, and it's going to go and it's going to create this app for you. And it's going to open up an app builder where we can change different features and functions of this application. So, and it's just going to walk you through every step, so let's go through them. So this just tells you what this app's going to do. At this point, we've already chosen the Dead Tree Count Survey web map, which we just had. Let's keep it at that. And now we only have one layer in there, so let's just choose that layer. We're going to call it the Dead Tree Count layer. And now you have all these options. You can change the title. You can put logos on it if you'd like. And you can put brief instructions for the participants to know before they actually fill out your survey, such as, please fill out this survey to tell us how many dead trees are in the area. And it says there's a spelling error, and it'll actually try to help you solve them if you do have spelling errors. You can change what the submit button says or any of these other options. We're just going to leave the defaults for right now. At this point, we're going to then get to the form fields. These are the fields you entered earlier. And notice how we had no spaces. They really aren't in the form of questions. At this point, you can come in and you could say, how many dead trees are in your area? Question mark. And then you can also change the next question to, if you want us to contact you, please provide your email address. And then you can actually configure that and tell it that it is an email address. And you can put hints, help text, whatever you want. So I can just say email address. And it'll actually save that. Here you can tell it if you want to be able to actually have it collect attachments. You can say yes, you can make them required, and you can also change what the button says if you'd like to. You can change your style of what the form's going to look like by just choosing from this drop-down menu, and it'll give you a preview of what it will look like when you make those changes. We're just going to go with the default. And then one nice feature about this tool also is after they submit their surveys, it takes them to a viewer, and they can see other people's surveys as well. So you can either disable that, but for this one, we're going to keep it on, and the display field we're going to use is the dead tree count information. Then you go to the other options that you can turn on at the time of creation. We're going to say locate on load, so it knows where you are when you log in with your device. We're also going to give it the option so you can switch your base map, so you can change what the people see. Default is going to be the imagery with labels, and you're going to have the option for topographic map. And that's it. You can change the color of the pin, but we're just going to take the defaults for right now. You can then preview it, and then you can publish the app as well. So we're going to save and exit to publish it. And then it has now published the app. And if we want to see what that looks like, let's go to View Link in New Tab. It'll open up that geoform for you, which I'm referring to as the survey, and it has everything that the previous form had. You got your selections, you got your email address, and it says email address. You can select your file. You could change that to be add photo if you wanted to. It'll get description, and you can submit it, all the things you had seen earlier. So now you've got this app that you can then send out to do a survey, in this case on dead tree counts. And how would you share that with people that you want to have this app and take part in it? You could embed this. You can embed this URL in an email and send it to them. You could also put this on a Site Builder app and actually in Site Builder and put a link to the survey. There are many different ways you can get this out and have people participate. I hope that makes sense, and I hope it's helpful. If you have other questions or need help, please go to igis.ucanr.edu. You could go to our service request page if you need it. If you have a project you have in mind or need and have questions or want to talk to us about it. If you want to drop us an email, you can just email us at igis@ucanr.edu, and we'll try to help you as quick as we can. Thank you very much, and have a good day.